Hello and welcome to the Wellness Agents, where thriving in changing times is what we're all about, and also knowing that there is always more to learn. I've got a lovely guest to introduce you to today, another one of our vendors and presenters for the Real Health Show, which we will be holding on the 10th of May at the Italian Club in Bunbury. Luke Dayton from Highbration Organics. Luke, from Highbration Organics is an award-winning cacao and mushroom brand focused on empowering individuals in their beverage consumption, assisting people in lowering their caffeine dependency and finding moments for themselves within the chaos of life. Highbration Organics products include ceremonial cacao, cacao-based latte blends, and functional mushrooms. Luke's currently on the road and has set aside time today. He's getting out there and spreading the word, and is here to tell us all about how he got into this line of work.
Hey everybody, thanks Sarah for having me. Great to be on. Thanks for the nice introduction. So Highbration Organics is a cacao brand, as you mentioned, and for me that journey started, guess as I came out of the corporate mining space and started doing some of the work that we're doing now, and that's led to us being on the road and traveling the country. So I was a 6-cup-a-day coffee drinker, fully addicted to coffee, was smashing my adrenals, doing all the things. That's the survival. For me, it was a place of survival. It was a survival mechanism. My first night shift in the mines, I drove off the road coming home. So for those of you that are in the Bunbury area, you might be familiar with the old Coalfields Highway that's big and weaving, and there's still the gravel strip there that, as you're coming down the hill, and I ended up in that gravel strip, 10 metres either side. Not here having this conversation today, and just asked for help. Asked the crew, like, how do I make sure I stay awake on the way home? And everyone's like, coffee. So I'd never touched it before then, and started out as sort of sweet cappuccinos, hot chocolates, and went all the way through hazelnut lattes, all the way through to just 6 cups a day, as black and as strong as I could get it. To the point where it's tasting like nicotine and tar, and I just have a week or two off and then go straight back into 6 cups a day. So for me, I was at sort of, once I started shifting that environment and starting to have a look at the way in which it was showing up in my relationships, and then I started looking for alternatives, and I fell in love with cacao. I'd been introduced to it years before, and I clearly wasn't ready for the medicine, because I was like, what is this? This is disgusting. I don't want a bar of it. And then as I started to experiment with it myself and found a beautiful connection to it and found a way that worked for me, and that really, I still remember like the first couple of journeys that I started to take with cacao, and how that really started to just open up my heart space. Coming from a very corporate, masculine background, logic, mindset, drive, it was, I can still picture those drops of cacao like really melting away the walls that I'd placed up over my heart. From there, I started diving into the world of cacao, so much so that we bought Highbration Organics. We bought this brand. It came up on the market, and my sister already had a connection there, and she loved the products, and I'd fallen in love with them too. And it was a beautiful opportunity for us post sort of through the midst of COVID, I guess, as I was leaving the mining industry and really sort of working out what I wanted to do in my space. It was a beautiful opportunity for us to dive into. A few years later, we've now grown it and moved it across the country and expanding it across the country and internationally, and won some awards for the blends. And my journey has just continued to deepen with that, facilitating ceremonies, and not just for myself but for others, and really trying to invite that medicine in. Like you said in the intro, our mission isn't to demonize coffee by any means. It's about empowering people to create an empowered relationship with their beverage of choice, whatever that might be. Why are you consuming it? What's the reason behind it? I'm a big believer that we should have intention with everything that we consume: media, food, beverages, people. What's the intention behind it? What's the energy that we're bringing in? Because what we consume is what we create our outputs with. So that's been our mission ever since, and trying to just create moments for people to create ritual with their beverage, and just have that little time for themselves so they can show up as the best version of themselves out in the world, whatever that looks like for them.
So important, isn't it? And to hear how you've really connected from the heart, you can really feel that coming through. And I think that's That's another aspect that's so lost today. One, the ritual, most people haven't got time. And then two, to take the time to be able to feel something, to really embody it is such a necessary thing to do, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
No,
Val
absolutely. And I found in my journey that one of the reasons that I was addicted to the coffee was that I was addicted to the urgency that it created, because
mm,
the urgency stopped me from creating space to actually feel, to
yeah.
recognize where I was at, to feel, okay, the disconnection in what I was doing from an employment point of view, and just really focused on the materialistic and the income side of things, and to like feel that I wasn't aligned with the environment that I was in, that I was shirking my value, I was doing all of these things, being able to just stay on all the time, which is what coffee does, right?
Yeah.
It's triggering our fight or flight response as soon as we have that sip. So,
Yeah.
to be constantly in that space of survival and just operating, I reasoned it was I'm operating at a high level, I'm efficient, I'm doing the things, I'm more focused, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, I was just living a lie, really,
Yeah.
and using
Yes.
coffee to mask a lot of it. So,
Yeah. And it's
yeah.
that busyness to avoid the feeling, isn't it? That's such a common, so many
Mm.
people, and they're not even aware they're doing it quite often.
No, not at all. I
Yeah.
wasn't. I
No.
had people come up
Yeah.
to me and like, I look back at photos now and it's just gaunt, I was probably the most physically fit that I've been by then. I was still playing high level basketball and was quite fit physically, but emotionally and mentally, I was in a
Yeah.
world of hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that played out in all of my relationships, to the point where at least my wonderful partner wouldn't talk to me in the morning unless I'd had a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
unhealthy is that for a
Yeah.
relationship?
Isn't it? Isn't it?
They
I'd
still
say that's
wouldn't
very
acknowledge that was
common.
an issue, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. When we run the workshops, one of the questions that I ask is like, do you like adjust your day-to-day route to make sure that you get a coffee, or do you get annoyed at the kids in the morning because they're going to make you late for your coffee run on the way to school? Your kids don't give a crap about your coffee addiction.
No,
Yeah,
they're not
like
hanging out for their
that,
coffee, are
and
they?
that triggers a lot of people. No, not at all. That triggers a lot of people, but it's just great awareness of like, hey, it's
Yeah.
not either good or bad. I'm not saying you're a bad parent or anything.
No.
It's like just have some awareness that there's a behavioral addiction,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
important to understand, because you
Yeah.
don't have the power in that relationship.
No. So true. So valuable. I love the sound of what you're doing. It's really spot on with what we stand for with the wellness agents and the wellness event that we've created. Luke, tell us a little bit about what people can expect when they visit your stall at the show, firstly.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you come and see us, we'll have the big bright orange Highbration Organics banner. We've got the eye there and the phrase pure, potent, sacred, which sort of sums up our brand for us. You'll be able to see our blend. We'll have some samples there. You'll be able to take away some samples in the latte blend space. We'll have some ceremonial cacao there, some of our mushroom stacks, and just good energy, good conversation. If what we're talking about resonates with you, we'll be there chatting all day and hanging out, and just enjoying good company. So just a really grounded energy, a very focused energy on seeing people's greatness and creating that space for conversation and for greater awareness.
Yeah, fantastic. And also, you're doing a presentation. So the event has a whole program of presentations running throughout the day. So tell us a little bit about what that might look like.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more introduction into some of my story, my journey with coffee in particular, and just then inviting reflection into how we can create that ritual throughout the day. For me, it's become such an important part of my day. Of how do I take those moments for me in the morning, or in the evening when if I have a deep calm to help me sleep, and whatever the intention is behind my blend and my ritual practice, it's creating some awareness around, well, how can we understand the science behind what's going on, but also the spiritual aspect, and create something that combines both. There'll be a little bit of, I'll go into the science behind why cacao is such an important heart medicine and how it actually operates within the body, because for me, it's important to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
That allows us to make a more informed decision. And then I'll just talk about some of the blends, their intention, and help people just have a look in their life as to where maybe there's some space for more ritual. Maybe there's some space for some more presence, some more reverence in the way in which they consume, whether it's a beverage, whether it's their cup of tea, whether it's their food that they're eating. Just how can we bring some intention to that? How can we create a ritual and get out of this mindset of, oh, I don't have time for that. Because I think social media portrays this space where it's like your morning ritual has to be 4 hours long and cold dips, like hot cold immersion, exercise, 3 hours of meditation, and that's not the case. You can do a 5-minute ritual. We'll teach a little ritual that we can do. It's 5 minutes. It just drops you in, allows you to connect, allows you to reflect on the day previously, where you're going today, how can you show up differently. Because for me, if we can be in a space of reflection often, then we can catch where we're not in alignment. We can catch where there's a little bit of energy that's a little bit heavy or dense or however it's showing up for us, and we can make a shift and we can do something about it. And that's the beautiful thing about awareness. For me, awareness is awesome, but it's the action. What's the structure that I'm going to put in to actually cement the action off the back of that? So we'll just help people bring some thought to that, create some ritual, and then see where the conversation flows.
Yeah, fabulous. Sounds amazing. And it's just everything is just so, aligning so beautifully with what people need right now. And I think exactly what you're offering is what people need, and getting back to ritual. We've lost so much of that in our busy society. Yeah. Materialism's taken over, work's taken over, it all goes hand in hand. So coming back to some of these nice ancient practices that, like you say, you don't have to put aside an hour. I often say that with yoga. Take your yoga off the mat. You don't have to put aside an hour for it. 5 minutes, you don't even need a mat. Just step off it and connect to the earth and take a few breaths and, realign and get in touch with how you're feeling.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, so many people I see at the moment are in survival, and talking about, I feel like I'm drowning. And in some respects, I'm like, I understand that. But also, like, I'm sort of cheering that on, because the drowning for me is the rebirth process. So it's like we go back into the womb, we go back to where we came from, the waters of birth, and we grow and we evolve. But it's difficult when you're in that. You're in that space, and if you don't have tools, you don't have support, you don't have an awareness of what's going on, that survival, that Groundhog Day is really, really hard to shake. And so the more that we can just, no different to like, creating different micro habits. We don't want to go and say to everyone, well, just start meditating for 30 minutes a day. That's going to work for like 3 or 4 days, and then it's going to fall back. It's like, well, just set a reminder on your phone for 3 times a day to take some conscious breaths and connect in with yourself, and just check where your body's at, feel where you're at. And for me, that the more you do that, the more that just becomes a normal state, and the more that you can just step back out of that survival space and sort of just really observe what's going on and start to make some change in your life.
Absolutely. Yep. We're talking the same language, Luke. It's wonderful. And I'm hoping that this event, this is the first one. We're hoping that it's going to be well received and that we do it again each year. Bringing like-minded people together, giving people the opportunity to come to a space where they can start seeing alternatives to mainstream and get some ideas and help about how they can start to empower themselves to take responsibility for their health. That's what this is all about. So we're really excited to have you at the show. Thank you for sharing today. You're also giving away a ritual sampler as a door prize. So I'm just letting our audience know that if they book their tickets online, they'll get an extra ticket in the door prize. So we really would love people to get online, book your tickets, only $10 for the event, gets you into everything that's on. And you get 2 chances at the door prizes, and there's some amazing door prizes. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, bring along your friends, and let's get the good life back. Thank you for your time. I love that.
It's, no worries at all. Looking forward to being a part of it. Can't wait to get back to Bunbury and be a part of this cool event.
Thank you. Happy travels, and really looking forward to
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Luke. Bye.
This content is created for informational purposes only. Always seek the guidance of a qualified health professional with any questions you may have regarding your personal health.